Hello NinBuzz viewers, in case you don't know who I am, my name is Roscoe1337, and today I have a battle here against BlazinKickinChicken or BKC from YouTube. He's running the standard Sandstorm team, I'm running some semi-stall, so let's see what happens. He leads T-Tar, I lead Heatran, and he's gonna get his sand up and he's gonna be here to stay because I have no weather Pokemon. And I go for the Stellar Rock. He goes for the Stellar Rock, and I didn't predict Superpower because I know how Kevin plays, and he would go for Stellar Rock before Superpower. So I go for the Will-O-Wisp in case he does have it and wanted to use his second turn, or if I could just cripple something else on his team, which I do. So I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna switch out into my Chad the Ferrothorn, and he's gonna go for the Volt Switch here, and it doesn't really do anything. So he goes into his own Ferrothorn, and we're gonna just have a Spikes Fest here pretty much. Psych, except I'm gonna go into my Heatran and scare this thing out because I'm not ready for him to lay up all his hazards yet. So he lays up his first layer of spikes, he switches out and he goes into his Rotom Wash, and I'm gonna go for the Lava Plume here, which does a nice chunk, I guess you could say. You're taking a lot of damage between Lava Plume, Burn, Sandstorm, and all that. So he makes a really good move here and goes for the Pain Split, and he takes a huge chunk of my HP away, which is bad for me. So I roar him out into the biggest threat in black and white Pokemon battling. I roar him out into Excadrill, which is bad because it beats this team so easily at +2. So I go into L, Death Note reference, if anyone was wondering. And I am Choice Spec, so I'm going to go for the Volt Switch just to hit anything he goes into. And that does indeed kill his Rotom with relative ease. So I'm going to go out to Chad because, you know what, forget it. I'm just going to lay the hazards up because spikes are very beneficial, you know. So yeah. He lays up his second layer of spikes, and I'm going to lay up my first layer. And not a whole lot going to be happening here except some spikes set up. Nothing too big. So but you will see later on how important spikes and Stellar Rock and just any entry hazard in general are really important to winning a battle. So he goes into his Gliscor, and for some reason I didn't lay up my last layer. I don't really know why. So he goes into Gliscor, I go into Latias. He's going to switch out here, and he's going to go into his Tyranitar, probably to trap me. But I'm not having it. I go for the Roar, and I do roar him out into a Latios, which I was kind of worried about because I didn't know if he was Specs. If he wanted to risk a speed tie, he could have possibly been Scarfed. And if I did even outspeed him and kill him, then he would just trap me with this thing. So I switch out, and I go into Ferrothorn, just in case he wanted to go for like a Draco Meteor or something. So yeah, and he's going to switch out here. I guess he doesn't have Fire Blast. So I switch out and I go into my Heatran because I was predicting Fire Blast, and Heatran takes a lot of damage from those entry hazards, which is pretty bad. So he's gonna switch out here and he's gonna go into his Tyranitar just to see what I want to do, I guess. And I go for the Lava Plume here, and it does not kill, but for some random reason he does switch out, possibly predicting something. But I just go for another Lava Plume, and it does a lot. I was not expecting that. And since Leftovers went before my Poison Heal, because on Wi-Fi, usually whoever's Leftovers activates first is who's faster, but I thought it was the same way applying to Poison Heal, but Poison Heal always goes first, so we learn something new every day, kids. So I go for the Calm Mind here with my Latias, and he's going to go for the Ice Fang, and it does a nice amount of damage, actually, even though I am max HP, max defense, bold nature. So I'm going to go for the Recovery here, because I'm predicting the Taunt, which is what he goes for. So unfortunately I can't Calm Mind, I can't Recover, I can only Dragon Pulse. So he switches out into his Ferrothorn, which is a pretty obvious switch in my opinion, so I definitely should have double switched on this play into my Ferrothorn to at least get up my last layer of entry hazards. But I do not, so yeah. So I go for another Dragon Pulse just to see what's on his mind, what he's predicting. And he goes for the Leech Seed, which is a pretty smart move. And he's gonna be sapping away some HP from me every turn, so I don't really think Latias is feeling that. So we're gonna have to switch out. We're gonna go into my own Ferrothorn. So I take a lot of damage from those entry hazards, and he switched out his T-Tar as Death Fodder, which is pretty cool because now he gets a safe, secure switch into whatever he wants, and he chooses his Gliscor. So I'm gonna switch out, and I'm gonna go into L, the Rotom, and he's gonna go for the Swords Dance here. So I wasn't too worried about it, except it was one of those scenarios on PO where I miss and they go for facade and kill me. But I go for the Hydro Pump and it hits as he goes into Latios and it does a huge chunk of damage. I didn't even know Specs Rotom was that strong to do that much. So I go in the chat pretty much as a death fodder. And BKC has like the coolest Latios because only the best Latios run Dragon Pulse. I really think it's a great move on a Latios. So I go into Fossil the Thunderous and mainly just to revenge kill this thing because I didn't have much else that was really outspeeding, and he locked himself into a pretty solid move and I had no steel type. So he goes into Excadrill pretty much to revenge kill. I pretty much stayed in because I really have nothing solid to beat this thing on this team. So I go into Latias and he goes for the X-Scissor and does a lot, and I just have to roar him out because I would have just gotten swept right there if I didn't roar him out. So Sandstorm hits me and Latias is not doing a whole lot, but I'm just going to get off a recover just to see what she's going to get herself into in this match. And he goes for the taunt, so not too worried about that because I'd kind of ride. Well, honestly, it is kind of annoying that this thing has taunt. I never really seen this thing being used successfully because usually everyone uses protect, and whoever does run taunt pretty much fails at using it, but BKC's doing a pretty good job at using it. So he goes for the Ice Fang, and I take that really nicely for something that +2. Latias puts in that work, no lie. So I go for another Dragon Pulse, and I kill that thing. So I'm pretty happy about that. So the taunt has worn off, and he can just come in here and revenge kill me with Excadrill, which is really unfortunate. Really sucks. So I'm just gonna go into L, and I know he's gonna switch out just to ensure that X-Scissor kills, and I just go for the HP Fire, protecting his switch into his Ferrothorn, so it'll only be a 1-0, and I think that's a pretty good job for a team that's weak to the biggest threat in the game, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think, but that's how I feel about it. So he kills that, and I go into my last, which is Jirachi, and we were talking about it over Skype, that Fire Punch. I said it could kill, and he said it couldn't, so I told him to go for Swords Dance. Honestly, I only told him to do that just so I could try to get a burn off and steal the win, but it doesn't happen, so he's going to kill me with Earthquake, and that's a good game, so definitely check me out. Check him out, too. He's a good player. So, yeah, like, comment, sub, and peace. Well, it's not my channel, but peace.